Hey! I got you. I almost got you.
You almost.
Welcome, everybody, to Breakfast of Champions, episode 22, or as we were saying in the pre-show, Double Deuce. What's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? What's happening, gang?
Gang.
Tell you what's good.
You tell me what's good.
What's good is we are at the end of the worst week of retail season ever. I am so tired, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay. If you just keep speaking it into existence and just breathing positivity, it'll be true, right?
Well, you know who that worked for Nikola Tesla, man. And look where he went.
Look at him now. He owns Twitter. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Worked out just fine.
Man. Oh man, but no, I feel like I spent the last week as that yellow dog in the cartoon with the animated fire in the coffee cup, saying, "This is fine. This is fine." That's what I feel like. I am the meme. This is my meme. How are you, Aaron?
You know, if I look to my right, I got a friend over here. I look to my left, I got a friend over here. I'm doing just fine, sitting here with you two guys on this awesome Saturday evening.
Ooh. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm finally looking over your way. It took me a second there to get going. So yeah, Thanksgiving week was this week. Of course, I as an American down under, like I completely just forget that things happen. Like you guys are living the life that I used to have. So I'm over here like, oh boy, Thanksgiving is Thursday. Like what? It's like doesn't make sense.
Thanksgiving. What's that? Yeah. Why would you do that?
What's that? Why would I give thanks? Ridiculous. But I did wake up on
possibly be a good thing.
There's absolutely nothing to be thankful for. So I woke up Friday and I kind of felt like, oh, this kind of feels a little bit like a holiday vibe. So yeah, we did the whole pumpkin pie thing, which was really nice, as we alluded to in our pre-show, which was fun. So yeah, pumpkin pies galore, and I'll be making one after the show here again, and hopefully I have enough for a fourth pumpkin pie. Because man, I tell you what, like when you puree an entire pumpkin, you just get like, I don't even know how many cups worth of pureed pumpkin I have. Probably at least a good. I can confidently say I probably have half a gallon of pureed pumpkin in my fridge right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with the rest of it?
Just pour some coffee in it, call it a PSL, and
I tried.
You know what you do?
Tried. It didn't turn out good. I'm gonna.
It's not the right stuff.
So you go outside with your pureed pumpkin, and you have a food fight with the little guy.
The little guy.
Outside,
Outside, yeah.
like people who work for big corporations, or his son.
Yeah, my son.
The little guy. I'm stuck in work.
Yeah, he can.
I gotta stand up for the little guy.
The general consumer, like, here's some pureed pumpkin, fight me.
I mean, you could. Why don't you? Here's what you do. You get your pumpkin. You get Big Ted, and you guys ride around the neighborhood, just throw a pumpkin at people. You could always do that too.
Yeah,
drive by pureeing.
It's kind of like TPing a house, but with pumpkin.
Yeah.
Just pee a house, like not TP, so just pee.
Do people TP houses in Australia? Like is that just an American thing to be I
don't know. I think
an unsavory individual.
I think it's I saw once on an episode of Peppa Pig. There's Peppa and the family go down to Australia and they start throwing boomerangs into windows and stuff like that.
Oh, that's sounds very stereotypical.
What's a broken window between neighbors, Mike? That's if you've seen that, I'm sure Amber's going to be watching this and laughing. Anyway, so okay, I want to know because Nerdwire, Mr. Cody, you're our inside guy.
Yeah.
How was your Black Friday? So like we did our community game night stream, and then you stayed awake until like 2 a.m. and then proceeded to go to work at 5. Like, tell me about your day, because I want to know how that was.
I did. It was 29 hours of straight up being awake and working, in some capacity, and Thank goodness for the good friends over in the Retro Game Remix Discord for keeping me awake and making me laugh during that time frame, because otherwise I probably would have passed out and slept on my way there and then been in the permanent sleep because I was driving a car.
A dirt nap.
That's the dirt nap, yes. But the store I went to go help out at, it was severely understaffed, so it was myself and one other person for 10 hours. I was really glad to be done that day. People were actually like, one thing I did notice is like this year's retail rush wasn't as heavy. Like it seems like COVID has kind of taken some of the denseness out of it. So it was very steady the entire day, but it wasn't like back in the day, everybody's there at 5 a.m. as the doors are doorbuster deals. It wasn't that. It was just, it was people showing up consistently all throughout the day. And I honestly don't know what I would have rather. I would have rather have gotten everybody out of the way at 5 a.m. and then just kind of had a dead period for a couple of hours. And then, but no, nope.
Well,
wasn't like that. And then I got home at 3:30 p.m. and I posted in the RGR Discord and I said, my watch is done. And I passed out. I passed out for 3-4 hours, somewhere in that ballpark. And I got up and I did a Pokemon stream. And then I was like, I'm not even rating anybody. I'm not even going to play credits theme. All the links are in my about. Go enjoy your evenings. I love you all. Thanks for showing up by. And then went to bed. I'm exhausted.
Don't blame you.
But glad to have that behind me.
Everybody's probably doing online shopping. Like the Black Friday deals have been absolutely nuts. Like my email inbox has been going off. Like I can probably, I'm the kind of guy that I'll have. Okay, so look at this. I'm going to show you this. Look at my unread emails. 16,677. I'm that guy.
Oh, that's all?
So I can legit just like scroll Black Friday deals. It's like insane. The corporate madness has been happening on my phone rather than your local video game retailer, Nerdwire. So what are you? You're the guy that has like 10. You got 18.
See, I'm with Eric, man. I think I had at one point like over 20,000 unread emails.
My wife is like that.
It quit showing me numbers. It just gave me a big red dot. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to turn this off.
That's funny. I didn't know I'd do that. You broke the system.
Yeah, well, it's like Y2K over here, you know?
Yeah,
we're all panicking about where's the zero carry? You know?
Mrs. Nerdwire has 100,000 unread emails.
That's legit.
Amazing.
Like, that's not even hyperbole. That is honesty.
I'm not an email person, man. I've never been down with emails. So like, I never check them, you know, I have
to Marie Kondo that stuff. This does not spark joy, so get rid of it.
I'll hold on to all of it, man. Give me all the emails.
So this does not spark joy. Get rid of it. I'm kidding. So yeah, man. So it says the big corporate madness week. I have not taken advantage of any. I dabbled in some of the Steam sales. Like I picked up. Spark and the Electric Jester 1, 2, and 3, like Doom Eternal. I picked up Sonic Origins, so like I maybe spent like $30 on games and stuff like that just to get them on sale on Steam Deck. But I haven't bought anything like physically at all this year.
Yeah, I feel you on that, dude. I too took advantage of the Steam sale. I'm actually still like perusing it because all that ends on the 29th. Our time. Mm-hmm. So I still have a couple more days to look at everything. But like everybody's having game sales, and I haven't bought in a physical game, and it feels weird. I mean, I've bought in older games. Like I think last one I got was Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga Complete in Box. I have that now, but that was the last physical I got. Everything else is like. Give me the cheap digital stuff because if I can get it cheaper, why not?
Yeah, I made two software purchases. One physical one, which I showed you guys during the pre-show.
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid:
nice.
The Twin Snakes for the GameCube.
Nerdwire
box. Yes. and I bought the Valve Complete Collection on my Steam Deck.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And it was like $5, $165 discounts, everything Valve has ever created. Like
Wow.
Left 4 Dead 1, 2, Portal 1, 2, like everything. And everything that predates that, Team Fortress Classic, like a bunch of stuff that I wasn't familiar with. It's like, let's buy that.
I'll buy that.
And then I
Yeah.
bought an SD card, a micro SD card, so I could add some more storage to the old switcheroo, because I still use my Switch pretty routinely too. So
I'm not on the Switch train. I'm so on the Steam Deck train. I was actually,
Dude,
I was playing the
it's good,
Steam
right?
Deck yesterday. I've been playing Sonic Frontiers. I'm almost finished. I've played that game for like, I want to say like 18 hours. I think I've played it for 18 hours. I played it for a fair chunk yesterday
Wow.
because my son went to bed at 6 p.m. And I was playing it while he was playing in the playroom yesterday. My father-in-law was there, and the in-laws were over, so we were just kind of whatever. So I sat on the couch, had some downtime, and I was playing the Steam Deck, and they came over like, "Oh, what's this?" So I'm like, "Well, don't you know this is the new fangled handheld from Valve, et cetera, et cetera." Like, wow, that's really cool. So it's like, man, I love my Steam Deck, and I even said to Amber last time, like, man, I just love this damn thing. It's just so cool.
It's a good purchase, man. I mean, the stuff I grabbed Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah,
You know, started that. That was pretty interesting start to a video game, I must say. And then I grabbed.
real good though, real good.
I'm gonna botch the pronunciation of the name, but Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice runs phenomenally. Dude, I died about 10 times trying to like get through just the first 10 minutes, man, and it was so much fun. I kind of like that. Like I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. Really like this. Like it's
dude, I bought Sekiro thinking it was Ghost of Tsushima when it came out. Because they were teased at the same E3, so I bought Sekiro thinking that it was Ghost of Tsushima, and then I realized, oh no, this is like a Souls-like game. Like this is too hard for me.
No, it's not too hard. You just need to learn. It's not hard for anyone. You just got to learn the patterns.
Can I tell you, when you can do the parry, a block parry, and then like the finishing blow on somebody, man, it's like real hard not to like go, start cheering. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have the collector's edition of that game. It came with a statue of the one-armed wolf and a katana a katana letter opener, and like this art book and some coins.
Nice.
It's really cool. I loved that game. That game was good.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of things that are good, we have a special announcement to make for today's stream. We want to thank everybody who's been watching and supporting here on Twitch. We have officially hit affiliate status within like 2 weeks or whatever. I haven't enabled it yet because you have to sign up and do like tax info and stuff. And we didn't have time to do it before the call. But I really want to say, if you want to support us on Twitch, please go ahead and support us on Patreon. There is some sort of way that I can link us. I can link your accounts via Patreon, et cetera, et cetera. So you might be able to get benefits and stuff like that. So I might have to sleep on that one. But Patreon, 3 tiers, more content, more often. We uploaded our first ever bonus episode the other day, and get to anybody. Why don't you tell the people what they're missing on Patreon? What episode did we upload, and how did it go?
We uploaded the infamous House Hunters episode, where we did like, I'd say it's like commentary with the main character. It was really good. I mean, the highlight I really enjoyed from it is Mort 5. Because I can't give away all the tasty things, Eric. I can't give it all away, because then why? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it was worth it. If you want to see Eric Ladd make a realtor very uncomfortable, sign up for that. Sign up for that tier 3.
Yes. Yes. Well, I relived my House Hunters international experience, and I tell you, it was a hell of a thing. And not only that, I do also want to say the music for this show. I'm gonna drag this picture, and it's gonna be way too big. But we have now.
She said, "Oh wow, it is way too big,
dude. It's supposed to be like 1440 by 1440. Like, I don't know what you've done. But it's like,
I think I exported it 4K.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So check this out. So you can get the soundtrack to the show on Patreon. Now that's what I call breakfast. As of right now, it's a 12-track album, pretty much, that has all of our intro songs, our topics and transitions and all that stuff, plus some more music ongoing, because it is an ongoing subscription. So thank you all for supporting over there. And by the way, I want to thank these individual people, except for one. Kenzabe, DJ Bible and Sarah, The Waiting Place, Pondy98, Chucky No Toes, 9266JD, Mel Ark, and no thanks to Netist. So thank you, everybody who has been supporting the show. We appreciate y'all.
We do. We
No
very
thanks,
much do.
Netist. No thanks.
All right. We better hurry up and go on over to our news bite, because, boy, oh my gosh, this thing is like packed to the brim. Let's go.
Brim.
Brat, brat.
Squawk. Hey, so do you guys remember when Microsoft decided they were going to try and take over Activision and or Activision Blizzard, not Activision and Blizzard?
I do.
Yep.
I do.
So, unfortunately, they might not be able to. So, the Federal Trade Commission is likely to file an antitrust lawsuit to block Microsoft's $69 billion takeover of video game giant Activision Blizzard. This is something I was saying to friends when it happened. I'm like, I don't think it's going to go through. And here we are. And this could be or would be the biggest FTC move yet. Like, they have yet to have any acquisition or anything like, or any purchase like this of that size. And I'm curious to see where this goes, because I don't see it as a monopoly or anything like that. It's one company buying a developer and publisher that is still going to actively put out games not only on their platform but on other platforms. So I don't see the issue with it. Let's see here. I'm looking through the article here. I do see that they say the FTC declined to comment, but I'm trying to see why exactly. And I think a lot of this stems from Sony. Here we go. So Microsoft accuses Sony of making self-serving statements to maintain its number one position in gaming. The suggestion that the incumbent market leader, Sony, with clear and enduring market power, could be foreclosed by the smallest of the three console competitors, Xbox, as a result of losing access to one title, right? And what's that title that Activision likes to make?
Call of Duty.
Crash Bandicoot.
And Microsoft has said it repeatedly promised to keep Call of Duty available on Sony's PlayStation, and furthermore, the game is not the must-have Sony says it is. Additionally, Microsoft notes that the game is not currently available on any subscription service, and adding it to the Xbox service in the future would not harm Sony.
Wait, did Microsoft say Call of Duty is not the must-have title that Sony says it is? They said this about their own title they're trying to buy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, we don't need that. It's not a must-have.
But wait, there's more. To a lesser extent, Google is also an opponent of the deal. According to two of the people with knowledge of the matter, the company has argued that Microsoft has purposefully degraded the quality of its Game Pass subscription service when used with Google's Chrome operating system, and owning Activision would further its incentive to do so, ultimately steering hardware sales towards Microsoft and away from Google, and yada yada yada. So how are we feeling on this? I mean, do you think that it is that Microsoft is just making a purchase to just acquire studios and still, business as usual for that said studio? Or do you see this being, we all know Stadia is dead. Google has no dog in this race at all anymore. Yeah, their Chrome operating system, but that's hot garbage anyway. I hate Chrome. I can't stand it. So I would, I'm biased when it comes to Google Chrome usage, but In Sony's eyes, I think Sony is the screaming toddler in the background. Because Sony doesn't have anything. They don't have a good subscription service. They don't have good first-party stuff anymore. That's all gone away.
But that's all their fault.
It is.
Like, that's not the publishers they've purchased or developers they've purchased. Like, that's their fault.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I didn't realize that the purchase or the acquisition for Activision hadn't went through already, because they've been talking about this purchase for well over a year and a half.
I thought it was already done.
Yeah.
I thought it was done too.
So apparently not. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know. Like, to me, the purchase of Activision, that's a feather in Microsoft's cap. But I would argue their purchase of Bethesda Game Studios is probably, it would bode better for them.
Yeah.
And that has been acquired. And I feel like that group of studios has been fine for them. But at the same time, Microsoft's not really putting anything out anyway with these studio acquisitions.
No.
Like,
no.
I don't know what Sony's upset about. Like, get out of here.
I think they're just upset for the sake of being upset. Like, it has no bearing on me whatsoever. I mean, again, KB, to echo your point, I mean, we've talked about this time and time again. What games are there on PS5? Like the new God of War, that's exclusive. But that'll be out on Steam Deck eventually, or Valve, or PC. So there's like, I think Sony's just upset because they know that they have no draw to their consoles right now. I mean, they got their half-baked subscription service. I mean, they've got their like one first-party title this year, which was God of War. Then, of course, you had like Returnal, but I think that may have been late last year. So that's it. They're just pissed off for the sake of being pissed off because they got nothing happening.
Yeah, I think Returnal was late last year.
Yeah.
And Returnal's supposed to be hitting PC by the end of December.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no
well,
draw.
that's directly from PlayStation Studios, though. Like, they're just licensing that stuff. I mean, they're going to make more money.
Yeah,
like, that's the ultimate goal, is for them to make more money. I mean, Sony Santa Monica, that's a decent one. I don't know. Like, I can't name the development studio Sony necessarily has. Mainly because I'm not as invested in what they do, other than the Final Fantasy stuff. But that's few and far between. Where's my Final Fantasy 16?
They need to buy this. If Sony wants to get ahead, they need to buy Square Enix. If they put Square in house, I mean, most, like, for example, the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 is going to be a PS5 exclusive because that console can run that game. Like, they're tailor making it to that game. But imagine like how much of a slam dunk it would be if Sony was like, hey, Square Enix,
I would argue,
come on over here.
Yes on Square and yes on Bandai Namco for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Those would be good acquisitions for them to kind of keep up with this acquisition stuff. And if they could just do that, they can stop whining about this Call of Duty bullcrap.
The thing that gets me is there's plenty more stuff coming out with Sony and Microsoft battling it out. And what does that remind you guys of? Like,
Sega versus Nintendo. Yeah.
I mean, it's all very, reminiscent of it. And it's like back then they kind of fought a little more dirtier than just buying up whole, studios and stuff. But like, I don't know. I just see a lot of this as, like you said, Eric, Sony's just late to the party, and they're like, well, how are we supposed to stay competitive? And you took all our stuff away.
And this continues into another article you have linked into the Google Doc as well. Somebody want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, we can segue straight into that.
Yeah.
I think the blurb that I pulled out of that article you shared, Aaron, was PlayStation cries saying Microsoft wants to be Nintendo. The full details on that, this comes from videogameschronicle.com. Sony has claimed that Microsoft's true strategy behind its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard is to have PlayStation become like Nintendo and not compete in the 18-rated shooter space. Which, that's large claims because essentially they're like, hey, they're trying to make me make baby games. I don't want to do it.
Hold on, because if you're going to become like Nintendo shares way more uncensored content to its gamers than Sony does. So like, I mean,
that's true. You
know?
The stuff passes its boards a little bit better. But there was a 22-page response from Sony Interactive Entertainment alleging that if the deal were to go through on its proposed acquisition, users would leave PlayStation's ecosystem, Microsoft could raise Xbox prices, and independent developers would be harmed in the fallout, which I think is preposterous to be worried about. As has been the trend with the regulatory back and forth, much of the document focuses on Call of Duty. Again, that game that Xbox says is not necessary or even a must-have, and the perceived harm Sony claims that Activision Blizzard deal would cause should the flagship franchise be made exclusive to Xbox, which I don't think there's anything saying that it will unless Sony keeps being dumbass. So
it doesn't matter.
I'm passionate. This is so stupid. It's
very well, like, just looking at that article, I'm looking at a section right here. It says in one section of its statement, the platform holder singles out comments made by Microsoft that other platforms have prospered without Call of Duty, including Nintendo Switch. Yep. And then it says Sony says this claim ignores the facts. The Switch is selling more than the PS5 and is on track to become one of the best-selling consoles. It's in the top 5. I mean,
that's not their fault. That's because chip shortages, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Everything is something else's problem. It's not Sony's fault.
Sony, much like their fans, are just little crybabies. So I mean. I'll say it. Nobody else will. I'll say it. I don't care. I've been playing Minecraft all week. I'm allowed to say it.
I was a bullfrog in the live chat here. Says Sony is the one causing harm to Sony.
Yeah, they are their own worst enemy, man.
I think that they have really just missed out on any prosperity this gen. I mean,
this gen is a wash for them.
Yeah, 100%. And
this gen is a wash for everybody except for Nintendo. Nothing requiring an Xbox Series X has came out. Nothing requiring a PlayStation 5 has came out. At least must-haves. And if it has, it's coming to PC later.
Exactly.
And that's where I'll buy it. I'll wait, man. Hashtag Steam Deck all the way.
I don't know. I'm just fired up.
The production shortage of the PS5, I think it was it was like a want versus need scenario because everybody was in lockdown. Everybody was stuck in their house. They want the latest and greatest tech, and the only game that they can play is Astro's Playroom on the PS5 because everything else. I mean, like my first go-to game for the PS5 was Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was a PS4 disc, which obviously I have the free upgrade. So like, wasn't even a game. And then of course, I grabbed Kena Bridge of Spirits the other day on Steam Deck. Like I had that on PS5, but I traded that in. So like, and same thing with Xbox, man. Like I sold my Xbox One when I did the Great Earthbound trade in. Like I sold a lot of stuff, and I haven't missed it at all. The last thing I was playing on Xbox was Halo Infinite, and that was like a botched kind of deal as well. And I have seen nothing come out of Microsoft's camp for games. Like I don't even know what's going on over there. I mean, really, it's just Nintendo just doing their thing outside of that whole sphere and just thriving.
I mean, it's really funny. It's really funny just to see like just Sony just crying, man. Like, why can't I want to buy Activision? I want to buy Bethesda. Why can't I have it? Like, I don't know, man. It's just like Sony is straying so far from what they used to be, man. PS2 era Sony, chef's kiss. PSP, chef's kiss. The Vita,
keep going,
was good, chef's kiss. PS3, moderately chef's kiss.
What's that scene with Jim Carrey when he like pulls out Mr. Butts in Ace Ventura and just talking about
yeah.
That but making a chef's kiss.
Yeah. And I mean, like after PS2, man, Sony's just market strategy and everything has just been way far skewed than what they once were, and it's funny to see it like really get worse now.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, imagine being, at the boardroom table, going, you promised me money. I'm investing in you. You promised me money. Where's it at? Well, I don't know. Microsoft's buying up everything. Well, that's not an excuse. So I think a lot of the pressure that is on Sony is solely based off of the investors.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just want video games to succeed.
I do
not
too.
not just Sony, not just Microsoft, not just Nintendo, but yes, kind of Nintendo. But like, I want video games to succeed. And this kind of BS is nothing but going to cause problematic futures for games creation and development.
I agree. We as consumers succeed when video games industry succeeds because we have the freedom of choice. And if we cannot choose specific system because they're not available, or even better yet, there's no software on there, then what are we gonna do? We're gonna buy Steam Decks. So speaking of Nintendo, here's a rumor. What do you guys think about the Super Mario Brothers movie being 85 minutes long? I mean, I haven't watched movies really at all this year because we've just prioritized working really, and playing. I play games and stuff in the evenings as well. But movies, 85 minutes, that seems like kids movie length.
Well, I mean, look what we're talking about.
It is a kids movie, but
I know.
I agree with you. Like, I'm kind of ticked off because this movie's been in development for 7 years, and I don't know how long it takes to make an animated movie anymore. Like, things are different. You're not drawing everything with a freaking animation cell. But I don't. At this, as many movies as I've watched over the last few years, you can't tell a complete story in 85 minutes. Not the one that spans this level of epicness. I mean, if this Chris Pratt gentleman needs to parkour across this kingdom from taking mushrooms, you can't tell that story in 85 minutes. I don't think so anyway.
Exactly. My first thought was, how are they, if this is going to be an origin story movie, how are they going to do that? They're going to have to I
know what they're doing.
Mario's in the Mushroom Kingdom. Let's go.
No, not let's go. Here we come.
Okay.
I know exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game with this. Nintendo probably said, let's see how many mainline Mario movies we can make. And then Donkey Kong has his own franchise. Let's spin that off into that. There's enough substance in the Mushroom Kingdom to where they could do 5 85-minute long movies, and this one just set it off. This is the origin of how Mario got to the Mushroom Kingdom, and then they're gonna end it on a cliffhanger. Everybody's gonna be up in arms. We're all gonna hate it, light it on fire, and then they're gonna make 2 more after that.
It's going to be a post-credit scene where Mario has...
Yeah, it's something. I mean, if it's for how long it is, they're going to have this isn't just going to be a one-and-done Mario movie.
No
this
way.
is going to be... They're going to be playing the long game on this one.
Yeah. What's that face, Mr. Nerdwire?
I hate that. I don't need an MCU of Mario. Don't give me Smash
that's what
Avengers.
They're going to do.
I just want a complete story. That's all.
Who knows? Maybe they'll make a Smash Brothers game or not game. Yeah, they already did that. Maybe they'll make a Smash Brothers movie.
Maybe it'll be a game.
Maybe it'll be why is everybody fighting together? Maybe we'll get cameos of Mario Kart. You know what I mean? You gotta be a little more open minded to it, man. Come on, I want 20 Mario movies. I want to be 70 years old when the 19th one hits. Let's go. Come on.
I want to be 36 when the 19th one hits. Just give me all of it at freaking once, please.
You're going to be a grandpa, and they're going to go, oh my God, Mario in the Mushroom Kingdom 10 is out. Let's go.
No, here we come.
I'm down.
Here we come. Yeah.
Here we come. Remember.
That's so silly. I won't say no to a greater cinematic universe because it'd be silly if they did a one and done, especially because they know the gold mine that they're sitting on. They're gonna make bank. That's probably gonna be one of the highest grossing movies of all time ever. 100%. Mario is just that really transcendent character. Doesn't matter when you were born, who you are, who Mario is. I think Mario's a more recognizable character than probably Mickey Mouse, personally, to me now. So yeah, there you go. I don't know. I'll watch it. I'll watch it and stuff. And I would love to be able to take my son to the cinemas as well. That would be really great. But I don't know.
Don't worry.
Post credit scene. I bet they're gonna have Wario in it or something.
Don't worry, man. If Miyamoto has his way, you'll be taking your grandkids to go see him.
I would love to have Wario, and I think I'm in line with you because currently, as of now, Charles Martinet is slated to be somebody in this movie for a very short cameo. That is confirmed. And after WarioWare Gold came out on the 3DS, and he had all of those like really long voiced scenes, and they were substantial. People were like, "Man, like why he should do that more often." That voice is a little more palatable than Mario's like, "Ah, mommy, it's me, Mario." Like it is like, "Hey, it's me, Wario." And it's a little bit more palatable, slowed down. Definitely, actual dialogue could be written for that. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I think that'd be cool if we got like a Wario cameo with Charles Martinet voicing him. Like, blows my mind.
Yeah, there's
Chris Pratt, Charles Martinet.
Yeah, I want it. I want it. There you go. Well, speaking of Mario, because obviously Mario is an older series, let's double back and look back in time to our topic, because this is a bit of an interesting one. Food for thought. It seems like might be an easy topic to discuss on surface level, but we've got a lot of stuff to say. So we'll be right back with the topic of the week. The science of nostalgia. What makes retro games so much better than modern games? Now, this is an interesting study because I like older games. Of course, as I've said many times, I've sold my modern collection here for Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, and Super Nintendo, or Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo this year. So like I've completely dipped out of the modern game kind of deal, aside from Steam Deck. There's just something about that older stuff, and it's not specific to older games because it's an older media kind of deal. What is it about a CRT that just gives us the warm and fuzzies? Why would I prefer to watch a movie on VHS and 4:3 ratio rather than an 8K Mario movie on Super HD Blu-ray? Why do you think that is? Is it a nostalgia thing, or is it just like things were better back then?
Cody, do you want to start this one off?
So I think what you say has some validity. Is that I do not want to watch 8K remasters of the movies that I enjoyed in my childhood. I don't. I want to watch them in the true to form, the way that it was intended. This is the way it is, and I'll tell you why. A large portion of it centers around the fact that I think when you upscale and upres things beyond the way the artist originally intended, you lose some of that charm. If you look at any Super Nintendo era JRPG, and you take that pixel art and you put it in pixel perfect mode, that looks like garbage, right? Because it's not being presented in a display that it was originally intended for. And that's why the CRTs make those old games look so much better, is because it kind of blooms everything and aliases everything to really give it this like more completed look. The resolution actually lends itself to having a clearer picture than it does on modern displays. But when I think about retro games, retro movies, retro music, and the presentation of those, I think a portion of it is nostalgia as much as it is these were innovative at the time. These were the fathers of innovation. These were the games that came before the games that we play today, and they gave everything substance. A lot of times, like, you look at I'm trying to articulate this appropriately because I think it's an important question that's been asked. You look at Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, and you compare it to something like Final Fantasy 15 or hopefully the upcoming Final Fantasy 16. And there's something about the impact that those games had culturally that I think changes your perception of what a good game is versus something trying to imitate that and recapture that same magic and that same lightning in a bottle that was in that generation. But I don't think that it is intrinsically better. I just think that my heart tells me it is, because it gives me the warm and fuzzies, because that's your childhood, your time of I didn't have any responsibilities. I don't have 2 kids and a mortgage. I'm eating fruit roll-ups in my room and playing Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2 on my 12-inch tube television. And like, those are good memories for me, and they contribute a lot to what I like about those games.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, KB? What's your vibe?
You know, back in the day, let's start with like Atari and everything, right? You had these games with some wild box art, right? You know, you're a kid, you're looking at this stuff and you're like, wow, that looks great. And then it's just 5 rectangles jumping around on each other with a square bouncing from each rectangle. And you're like, this is so cool. Yeah. You know what a lot of the modern stuff today misses is the imagination. You had to sit there and like you were immersed a little more into this stuff. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Modern stuff can really pull you into where you're like, "Oh my God, this is nuts." But like the older stuff, you had to kind of use your imagination more. And for me at least, when you're playing a lot of the older stuff, it kind of like brings that back. You know what I mean? It taps into that imagination or the imaginative or whatever. I'm not good at big words and trying to sound fancy, but anyhow.
Scholastic.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, but what I'm trying to say is when I play a retro game, it unlocks that my inner child to where I want to sit there and not only see everything, but I can feel it. I can see it all in my head. And like a lot of those artists and game developers back then, that's what they wanted to do. They too had the vision. And how do you do it with the hardware that you had? And it's like, man, that gives me the warm and fuzzies. Not only does it take me back to a time when I could sit in my room and eat my Pop-Tarts and my, you know, Gushers and everything and play Super Mario World, but I could use my imagination in ways that I didn't think I could.
Those are some really solid points. If I'm going to look at it for me, I'm playing games like Super Nintendo games on a CRT, a Sony Trinitron that I went out of my way to buy, because that's the best way to experience those games, because those games were made to be displayed on a curved TV. Cody, like you were saying, like these games look better because on the older TV specifically, they had scan lines. Like they were made line by line, pixel by pixel. Like modern TVs, unless you're using like frame meisters and like upscalers and stuff like that, they don't know how to interpret that signal. So it just kind of looks like Microsoft Paint blocks. Whereas if I'm playing things on an older TV, like that's just that experience. That's the way to experience that. Same thing with like vinyl records. And I suppose that's a really good piece of discussion here, because there are people now that are buying vinyl records that did not grow up with vinyl records. Like I grew up with cassettes and CDs.
Same.
Only in my probably early teens. And not even did I get into vinyl records. Like we bought a bunch of stuff from like the Salvation Army. And that was really cool. And I didn't think anything of it until I started putting music out on vinyl for myself, of course. But like that's an older medium that has now come back. And I know companies like Limited Run Games and stuff like that, sometimes I think they do create new games using old cartridge shapes. I have an example here. Bear with me.
He's gone forever.
Yeah, this one right here. This one is by Collector Vision Games. If you guys know Games for 81 on YouTube. he's part of this company right here, Collective Vision. So this is a brand new Super Nintendo game called Sydney Hunter and the Curse of the Mayan. So this was done via Indiegogo or Kickstarter or something like that. Mm-hmm. So this is a brand new cartridge mold. This is like a new game specifically made for an older console. Why would somebody do that? Why would somebody make a game specific for that older console? I mean, you can buy it on Steam Deck, for example, on Steam. I know it's on sale relatively frequently, and same thing on Switch as well. But why would I go out of my way to play this on the Super Nintendo on a CRT? I think it's just the way to experience things. That's just a different way to experience things. It's not even like a nostalgia timepiece kind of deal. It's like if you have that old tech and you can play it on there, why not? I think that's just the definitive way to experience. Like even recently, I put my Switch through my CRT, and I played Sonic Mania and Shredder's Revenge on the CRT. Let me tell you, those games look beautiful because with that HDMI to AV, it's taking that 16:9 signal and squishing it to 4:3, and it looks perfect. Like there's no issues at all, and it looks beautiful, beautiful on the older TVs, man. So. That CRT tech was great, and it's a shame that they don't have that anymore.
It's funny you say that somebody's making stuff for the older consoles, because I know like there's a lot of people who still actively make new Game Boy games and put them out on cartridges. And here's one that I saw today. There's a new NES game coming out that has a Wi-Fi chip so you can play with friends wirelessly on your original NES hardware. Yeah, it's called Super Tilt Bros. It's a fighting game for the NES where you can play online with people.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah, and go ahead.
No. Like I have kickstarted a couple of Game Boy games. Because I just think it's nice that I can breathe a little bit more life into this thing that I have a lot of passion about. So much passion. I mean, it's inked on my body. I have a Game Boy tattoo, like taking up a mass of my forearm. And like the fact that I can, so for instance, Good Boy Galaxy. It's a Metroidvania. It's coming to Switch. It's coming to Steam. It's coming to everything else. But the big selling point for me was that I could kickstart it and get a Game Boy Advance version of that game.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, so I've got that coming in at some point. Development's still underway. They're still posting regular updates about it. But I'm really excited for them to breathe life into that old tech. And I think that's a large portion of it. To lean into what you said, Eric, is like that's another way to experience this piece of art on a different medium. I can go experience that on my Game Boy. I can buy an Eric Ladd live stream album available at tragostudios.com and play it on my record player. And just have a different experience. I've streamed most of your stuff. I streamed from YouTube Music or bought it through Bandcamp. But the fact that I can hold this physical media in my hand, stick it on a record player, watch it spin up, and really listen to the imperfections of that individual record, and not be biased against it because that's just the way records sound and unintentionally. But there's something pure about it. It's unadulterated. And that's the way I feel about my retro games too, to an extent, is that there's something pure about it and unadulterated.
I agree.
I don't know.
And KB, you showed your analog pocket before we got on. Tell us about that, because that's another way that you can experience. Like it's a modern convenience for a older game, which is a really kind of niche saying, but it makes sense. So tell us about that. Show and tell.
Well, the analog pocket and. What is the company Analog?
Yes.
Is that their name? Okay, because they make more than just the Analog Pocket. They also make I think a Genesis version. They make an NES. They make an SNES. I mean, they're really good at making these retro consoles that use FPGA, and that relies on hardware instead of software emulation.
Yeah.
And like the Analog Pocket, man, I have it here. This is what it looks like. It's a Game Boy. That's all it is. It's a Game Boy. It's a fancy Game Boy. I mean, there's my Pokemon Yellow in it. I was really, really excited for the thing because you can play all your old stuff. You can You can play all your old like Game Boy stuff, Game Boy Advance. That's what I think reeled me in, was the fact that I could, instead of having to, try and make a Game Boy Advance slate and still carry around my Game Boy Color or a Game Boy Pocket or something. You know what I mean? Like this was a nice all-in-one. I do have my gripes with it, but that's something we'll get into at a later date because Cody bought one, and I would love to, see his thoughts because mine are a little soured, but I don't want to do give away too much. But recently, they've made it so you can add emulators to this in different cores. So you can run a Super Nintendo off of this thing, and it has a giant square screen. So you could essentially have your retro collection on here, or you could just get a Steam Deck and,
But again, those emulators, from what I understand, because I have had the hands-on experience, those emulators are still 1-to-1 emulation. It's hardware emulation where you're swapping out cores. So it's different than software emulation.
It is.
But again, a topic for another day.
That's what I mean. And like, there's so much we could get into with it, but it's one of those things where a company is taking advantage of the nostalgia train to where it's like you're stuck at home. You want to play your Game Boy, but your Game Boy, you might not be savvy enough to upgrade your Game Boy screen or your Game Boy Color screen. You might have a broken Game Boy, but all these games, well, you can just buy this thing. And you have everything right there. You can sit there during the holidays and play your Pokemon game again, just to, tap into that warm and fuzzies, because like not only do nostalgia is, there's the science, but there's also just the time and place for them too. Like the holidays for me, it's Pokemon, man.
That's it. That analog company. If you go to analog.co. If you look at their site, they're making beautiful clone consoles. And by clone consoles, I mean, like, they're FPGA. So they're hardware emulation. It's not digital emulation. So if you buy like a Retron 5 or a Retro Duo or something like that, it's basically games on a chip, pretty much. It's like they have custom built these things. And I think like even the Analog Pocket, I think the Analog Pocket is it an OLED screen or it's an IPS?
I think it's IPS.
It is an IPS display, but it is one of the most beautiful, from what I understand, with like Gorilla Glass on there to reduce glare, but increase durability of that screen. And you
can dock that thing as well, so you can put it into a CRT. You can play the old games like that and use a wireless controller. And I think the thing is like, let's just get rid of the whole. But I like my Super Nintendo because blah, 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 because I grew up with like, okay, let's ignore that. Super Nintendo games are great. They're valid. There's ways that you can play Super Nintendo games these days by emulating. For example, Super Mario RPG. I had to buy the physical cartridge to play that on my Super Nintendo on my CRT. To me, that's the definitive experience. But you have other ways of doing that too now. You can buy that cartridge. You can buy like the Super NT from Analog and play that way. Or, you can play it on your Analog Pocket handheld. So there are ways to play these older games as a physical medium that are valid and that are great. And it's not a nostalgia thing. It's like, these are good. Let's play them and let's bring them up to 2022.
You know what I think is also, and this is going to be a total topic changer and back to our original, what makes retro games better than modern games conversation. And I think the one final thing for me that creates that is the fact that back then video games were rarer and more precious because I did not get games every time one launched as a child. I got games 2 times a year, on my birthday and on Christmas. And unfortunately, my birthday and Christmas are at the same time.
Oh,
man. But that's when I got video games. And on top of that, development cycles weren't as consistent either. I mean, there wasn't a brand new game every single week from 30 different companies all at once. They didn't have an easy way to publish. So I think, to me, that's probably the one thing that creates that nostalgia there that gets me all wistful and misty-eyed is the fact that those games were a lot more a lot more rare. They were a rare occurrence, and oftentimes I got to play the greats, because there are plenty of real
Oh yeah.
old games, but because I didn't get every game that ever came out, I only got the hits, man.
Yep.
I only got the hits, so that's probably what gave me that elitist. Oh, Super Nintendo's better than Xbox 360.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
No, I agree, dude. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. It was video games were an experience. Like I said earlier, the Christmas was Pokemon time, because how many times did Pokemon get like new gens come out every other holiday?
Yeah.
Like it was, what do you want for Christmas? Pokemon. Well, you wanted that last crate. Up, that's fine. Give me the other. I want the other one. Like, I don't know. It's nostalgia is crazy, and the way it can affect you, and the way that these companies are tapping into it.
What do you think about recency bias? This is a great point, Cody, that you added. Are we jaded by recency bias, or are we jaded by distance from recency bias? So that means like we've just played a brand new game, cool. But like if I look back into the echoes of the time that I've been alive, I can definitively say that I have had better experiences on older games. And I can tell you from example, like having played Earthbound, like it is an older game. I played it more recently on the Super Nintendo Mini. I streamed that whilst I did my Kickstarter campaign, and then after the campaign finished, I just continued. That is a game that's now available on Switch. That's an older game that came out in 1994. To me, that game is like one of the most definitive experiences in gaming, point blank, because of the way that it's telling that story. I could play the new God of War. I haven't played it yet. I could pick it up and play it. But if I think like maybe 5 years after I finish that God of War, I feel like that just kind of washes away, and I still think, man, that Earthbound game was something else. So what do you think of recency bias?
I don't know, man. I definitely think that a lot that has come out over the years has already been done. So like, I don't know. Go. Let me formulate my thoughts a little more, Cody. Why don't you?
Go. I think so. So I'm with you in the sense that recent games have not been the nostalgia pieces, but the whole, oh my gosh, I almost spilled my drink. But the whole reason that I ask that is because I think everything is still too recent for me to have a nostalgia for it for the most part. And me definitively saying, well, the games back in my day, like me definitively saying that is almost a little bit of me discounting, are these games going to be things that I remember, 20 more years down the line? There's a couple of games that I can think of that are more recent that I have some extremely fond memories of. Gears of War, playing with my father, playing through that entire franchise, that entire series. I still look at that game and go, man, that was a good time. I can take you through every single beaten path of that game and tell you, okay, well, this is going to happen here. You're going to be able to pick up this weapon here. You're going to be able to do this, because I played that game so much with my father. Borderlands is another good example of that. And thinking about both of those games gets me in the nostalgia bones. But then I also think about games like Eastward, and right now I'm streaming that, but I played that back when it launched live. And the cool thing about that game is it preyed on my nostalgia very, very well and ingrained itself into a place where like I have nostalgia for that game now, partly because it emulated so well games like Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, games like Earthbound, and games like Dragon Quest, even if you did the mini game. That's included in there that will add an extra 10 hours to your playthrough. It's not really much of a mini game, is it? But like,
yeah,
I think that one has ingrained itself into my nostalgia bone a lot, and I love that. But I think it's dangerous for us to say games back in my day were just better.
Yeah,
because
I
that's
agree.
not always the truth. And that's kind of why I asked that question. Am I jaded by distance? Is everything too recent for me to develop that same nostalgia and same respect as a video game for? And am I being unfair to modern releases?
So with all that being said, now I know what I want to say now. I know what I want to say. So what I was going to say earlier is, a lot of games back then when gaming was fresh and all that, it was all created. Like they had the, defeat God and fight God, from the get-go. Now there's 5,000 games where everybody's fighting God and, this, that, and the other. So like, to me, it's one of those, the roadmaps were there years ago, even before we were playing games. There's always going to be something that predates whatever you're into, whether that be gaming, movies, books, what have you. I do agree that, when I was playing games, let's say that was 25 years ago, because I started playing stuff on floppy disk back when I was 5, 6. So like, yeah. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't know. I played a lot of games, but I'm also very open-minded to a lot of games and try to keep like, oh, you know what? These indie games might look like trash, but maybe they have good substance to them. And if you stay real close-minded in that and think that, oh, everything that I had back in my day was the best, then you're not going to have a good time.
I think you're the perfect foil for either Eric or I
agree.
In the sense that you are very much the, like, let's get to the next thing. Let's get to the next thing. Let's get to the next thing kind of guy. I replay a lot of recent stuff. Eric replays a lot of like retro stuff. So it's like,
yeah, I'm the middle of the road. Oh yeah. Cause like we all know that I complete games. Yes. But I also, like, I started Persona 5 and Sekiro together, and I'm already like, all right, so on December 2nd, the new Need for Speed comes out, the new, the Dead Space guys, the Callisto Protocol, that comes out, so, like, I'm already, like, I'm hungry for the new stuff, man, because I've played all the old stuff, I've experienced that, I'm done, like, I've played Earthbound, phenomenal game, wish I would have gave that a chance when I was a kid, Final Fantasy 7, again, phenomenal game. Wish I would have said, JRPGs, don't suck. But like, here I am now. It's like, all right, cool. I usually go back to the old stuff and check out stuff that I haven't played when there's a lull in the market. And unfortunately, now there is no lull in the market. I wish there was a lull in my bank account.
I know.
But like, I very much want to move on to the next thing. I've played all the hits, man. I've played all the greats. I want, give me more, please.
Let me ask you this, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you believe after completing Sonic Frontiers that you're going to have any bit of nostalgia for it?
No, but I can tell you definitively it's the best Sonic game yet. I have a lot of nostalgia for Sonic Adventure. I remember I got that on the Dreamcast. Like my mother brought home the Sonic bundle Dreamcast. It came with Sonic Shuffle and Sonic Adventure. Dreamcast was huge back in the late 90s, man. Some of the younger folks may not realize, but Dreamcast, man, it was massive, and I love the Dreamcast. But yeah, the first time that I had played a Sonic game was Sonic Adventure, and that was like kind of a faux open world experience where you had your giant hub world and you can go to your different levels and stuff like that. And Sonic Frontiers carries that torch in just a different way. It is basically Sonic Adventure 3, and I don't say that lightly. I have really, really enjoyed like my 18 hours or so in that game. It is one of the most definitive Sonic experiences. But if you look at the same time, Sonic Mania is basically a nostalgia trip for Sonic fans. Yeah. I just think it's there are different ways in which different franchises can take that energy that was channeled in like 1999 or like even the early 90s for Sonic Mania and then carry that forward. And that's not necessarily a cash in on nostalgia. It's like we had the formula, we deviated from it for so long, and this is what people want, so let's make it. I do think 66JD made a great point here in the chat I'll throw this out there. You definitely won't know what will be nostalgic. However, I can say Final Fantasy 14, or is that 15 or 14?
I think that's
14.
I think that's 15.
Okay, 15. It makes
15,
me nostalgic from when my son was born. Yeah, sorry, I can barely see here. It all depends on what was going on at a specific time. So I think the main point of this conversation is most of it is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is subjective. However, I think it is very hard to ignore that some games are just definitive experiences. A lot of people can say Final Fantasy VII just looks like Play-Doh, but if you think back, like, you know, if I would be really interested to know what somebody now of age that has not played Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 7 plays both of them, plays Final Fantasy 15 first, and then goes back to 7 and see what they have to say. Does that story from Final Fantasy 7 carry the graphical whatever of, you know, Final Fantasy 7? Because obviously the polygons haven't aged well. But yeah, you know, back to your original thing, Sonic Frontiers is a great game. It's fantastic, but they've channeled that energy from the Adventure series, man. So that's, to me, why I think it's great. They finally clicked into it.
Interesting.
There you go. A bit of verbal diarrhea, but you know.
I think we all just kind of verbally pooped all over our microphones. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, I always do, so it's fine.
I think it's a good stopping point, though.
Yeah,
it was a great talking point.
It's something we're obviously very passionate about. Like me, of course, with retro games. KB, you're really great middle ground. Really great middle ground for all that. And of course, Cody, I mean, you're in and amongst it with all the newer stuff as well. I mean, because you work within that industry, so you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Pokemon Scarlet versus Pokemon Red and Blue. Give me a hot take.
We'll
cap it off.
I'm about to say something really bad.
You're going to say
do
Scarlet
it, because
and
I want
Violet.
to say bad stuff too. Do it. I want to say bad stuff.
I think Scarlet and Violet, from a gameplay standpoint, is definitively the best game in the franchise from a gameplay standpoint. I think it is a unoptimized, crappy mess, but I think it's the best between the two.
Let me tell you this, dude. This Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the Pokemon games that we all wish we could have when we were kids.
For real?
I mean, dude, I hated. I used to get hosed whenever I would play Red and Blue and trade Pokemon with people because they'd rip out the link cable when they got their Pokemon, and I'd lose all my stuff.
Yeah. Oh my.
Thank you. I don't know, man. I mean, me personally, I had friends that we would just sit there at the lunch table and be nerds and just play our individual Pokemon games and talk about it. So it was kind of like, why aren't they making a game where all of us can join together and experience the same Pokemon, the same battles, all that stuff together, you know?
I can't even look the camera in the face right now. I'm having such a hard time.
Why?
I'm sorry.
Welcome to Hot Take Land, man. I do it all the time.
You know, if you'd asked me, though, Sapphire Ruby or Scarlet and Violet, I probably would have said Sapphire Ruby.
Really?
No, those games are...
Those are my favorites out of all of it. I could make my own little tree house or my cave house or my underground house.
Yeah.
I had every Pokemon that I could possibly want in that game. It was phenomenal. It was such a good time.
Gimmicks.
I don't know. The online multiplayer is really worth it, though. It is really worth it.
It definitely is.
Interesting.
And it's literally just me playing alongside of a friend. Like, there's no, they have no input on the story, on anything that's going on in my world. It's all very, like, single instance. But the fact that we can go both look at Pokemon and catch Pokemon.
How cool is that?
And exist in each other's world. It's very passive Destiny 2-like experience.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. I would love to see them refine it and actually have a game that isn't very broken. But man, it's so good. It's so good. I love the fact I could actually like level grind in the sense that I could just do raids all day if I really wanted to with friends, or we just ride around on our lizard creatures and, you know, whoa, look at that Pokemon. He's adorable. Let's catch him, you know, like, Or my favorite, hey Cody, can you not ride your thing yet? No, not yet. Okay, well I guess we'll walk there.
Thank you, friends, for everyone getting out of the car and walking with me and not making me hoof it to town. No, it's a good friendship experience, and that's the thing is I think that same question that we just asked. Do you have nostalgia for Sonic Frontiers? I will ask that of myself. Do I think I'm going to have nostalgia for Scarlet and Violet Pokemon? I think I will. Yeah. It is one of those that I'll have nostalgia for. Sword and Shield, I played those. I couldn't care less. I did not. I don't have nostalgia for those.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon, I shiny grinded the starter. So by soft resetting 863 times, not even kidding, soft resetting the game 863 times to get a shiny Rowlet. And then I didn't even play it after that. I was like, okay, did everything I wanted to do. I'm done. I guess. I don't know. I didn't play the rest of the game. Who knows if I did everything I wanted to do. But like, I didn't get that same nostalgia. This game, I think I'm going to walk away with some nostalgia.
Yeah, I would probably replay this for the nostalgia factor, for the fact that, like what 66JD said, it all depends what's going on, man. Like, this is the first Pokemon game I could truly experience it with friends, and that's forever going to live in my vault of micro memories. If you know, you know.
Absolutely.
You know.
It's all about what you're doing, when you're doing, and what you're playing. So there you go.
Also, here's another hot take. Shinies don't exist. You're all playing hacked games because I've never seen one or experienced one. So
maybe you're just bad.
I'll fight you.
You're playing that Steam Deck version that doesn't have the shinies.
That's what it is. You want to throw it to the wrap-up, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one more talking point for you. You're never going to believe this. No. So remember, don't say anything during this transition because they're going to hear us. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I saw a thing on Instagram and I sent it to Mrs. Nerdwire actually, and it blew her mind. Did you know? So for years and years and years, we've been battling with loud microwaves. Everybody tries to run off the couch and stop the microwave before it starts beeping at 3 a.m., of course. But did you know that you can long press on the number 2 on the microwave and it will shut the microwave noise off? It will go silent mode. Did you know that?
Okay. That explains it. I came home today from work and I went to microwave my Thanksgiving food to get my second, that extra, I don't know, double deuce place. And it wasn't making noise. And I was like, is this broken? And then I looked up at the numbers and I was like, oh no, they're typing. What?
Man, you guys must have some really jank microwaves because mine actually sings me a song when my food's done. The beeps are already quiet. It goes like, yeah, dude, whenever the food's done, it goes beep boop bop bop ba-da beep doop skiddly bop doo dow. And I'm like, yo, my food. And I'm sitting there dancing like, hey.
Sound like Mr. Krabs in that Colin radio show episode where he's like, hey, can you play the song that goes beep beep boop bop bop?
Dude, I legit will sit there and I will sing the microwave song. Because it sings to me when my food's done. It's like, hey, come get your food. Your food is done. It's hot and fresh. Like, dude, I'm so excited for the microwave song. And like the beeps are like, they're like beep, beep, beep. I'm like, oh man, this is the quietest one. I go to Mrs. KB. I'm like, yo, where'd you steal this from? Like, what R&D lab did you infiltrate?
Freaking Scatman John recreated as your microwave. Your food
so
is
like
done.
I have a very quiet microwave, so I can't relate to any of this, and I'm kind of sad. I mean, now my grandmother's microwave, that thing sounded like Beowulf driving at 18 wheels of pure American steel down the highway. When it would turn, you'd hear grrrr. I'm like, what is going on? What is that? So like, you know,
I saw because you know I love my Instagram reels. I saw there was this. It was like somebody's microwave. They press the start button. It's like,
it's so loud it stops making noise.
As soon as it turns on,
beeped your mic.
Oh man,
yeah, it's so like this.
Good.
Press start. Yeah.
Oh man! Oh my gosh!
We had a voicemail for today, but I completely forgot, so we'll save it for next week. But I just want to say thank you everybody for listening. Let me go ahead and round the show off with some podcast stats.
Podcast stats.
We have 699 downloads on our audio hosting plugin or platform. Our most listened to episode is episode number 1.
Of course.
Followed by episode number 8 featuring Did Somebody Say Retro? That was a really great episode. We were going to tentatively have a guest on this week, but it didn't work out. So don't worry, we haven't forgot that guests are a thing that we can have on podcast. We're going to work it out. More stats. Let's see. For locations, I love looking at the locations. You guys know not where our number 1 spot, but where's our number 2 spot? Come on, hit me with it.
It's Rancho Cucamonga.
Absolutely.
I thought it was going to be Melbourne.
Let me just say, if you live in Rancho Cucamonga, I want you to call and leave a voicemail on the show. Okay, so if you live in Rancho Cucamonga, I want you to dial on your phone 1-315-314-4190. Leave a voicemail and tell me what the hell is going on there.
We just want to know.
Why are we like we're about to fly in and do like a BOC live at the Rancho Cucamonga Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, I'm already there. I'm already looking up flights.
Rancho Cucamonga del Taco.
You know what? I mean, still Del Taco is still Taco Bell. If you didn't know the history of Taco Bell and Del Taco, it's still Taco Bell.
That sounds like a news bite.
I know weird food history, man, that I could hit you with. That the Patreon, man, the patrons would love to hear it. Man, Rancho Cucamonga. I mean, maybe they're breakfast fans, and where it's all the cafes just play us on a loop for breakfast.
Maybe
that could be cool. That could be cool.
Hey, we have been streamed in 4 continents.
Ooh,
we've been streamed in North America, Europe, Oceania region, and we have 1 download in Africa.
I thought you were going to say Antarctica.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Santa and the elves got us on repeat up there making the little wooden trains.
So somebody's using a VPN for our one African listener.
You never know. They might want us to bless the rains.
Yeah.
Breakfast the rains in Africa.
Toto. That's totally cool. Well, there you go. Any closing thoughts for episode 22 for today? We're live right now, so we're gonna flick on over to our post show. But any final thoughts for the people listening and watching on YouTube?
We were here for a good time and for a long time. It's great. Episode 22 episodes in, still going.
Make sure you tip your waiter or waitress on the way out, and drive safe. If you've been drinking, please call an Uber. Nobody can afford a DUI during these holiday times.
Yeah, don't Discord and drive.
Yeah. Double deuce!
Double deuce. All right, there you go. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you're watching live, we're flicking on over to our post show right now. Don't go anywhere.